This is Fantology.
You may have heard of us.
All right. What's up, Jin? This is Steven, your host with Untitled Podcast, with my lifelong friend, Ben. And we are talking about Alex Verus books 10 and 11. So the third to last and penultimate entries in the series. We have not yet read book 12, Risen. So no spoilers to that point. It's not even possible for us.
We are unable. We can still spoil it, but it will be
speculation only,
spoiling. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we're talking about Fallen and Forged. And I think I've seen some fans on the internet say these last three are kind of like a trilogy of sorts to end out the series. And so far, I am really into it. Like, these books go darker, a lot darker.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of there for that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that if there is one weakness of these final two, it's that they do feel like they're just shooting really hard for the end game, right? There's no real reason for them to end where they do, or besides the fact that there needs to be an ending for there to be $3. So you
don't buy the build up in the previous books to get to this point, or what do you mean?
No, I do. I think that all the other books had like a specific end where it's like, oh, Alex got the, rescued this person from this situation, or he
usually Anne is the one he's rescuing.
Yeah, usually Anne or himself.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, once he defeats the whatever dark foe is going after him, whether it be the Night Walkers or Night Stalkers or whoever that group was, or the
Night Stalkers,
or what's the one group that thrives on information and are like child sex type thing.
Oh, the White Rose.
Yeah, White Rose.
Pretty sure
he takes down the White Rose. Yeah, like every book, there's a specific place for it to end. But with these three, it's just okay. Like, let's get ready for the showdown for the last book. I feel like.
Yeah, I guess From book
Forged had an ending. Forged had an ending, I should say, where he gets the fate. I guess. Wait, are we gonna?
Well, yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying, where all of them are pointing at the ending of the series rather than the ending of the book. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like they just kind of seamlessly tie together.
Yeah, I should say, if I had to be waiting like for a year or two between these books, it would be tough because I would be like, come on, just give me the ending. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care that Alex got this new tool to use. I just want to see how he's going to use it. Like, it just needs to move on to the end game.
Okay. And there's really no time gap, at least between books 10 and 11. And I doubt there's going to be a time gap at all between 11 and 12. So that's a little bit different from previous books where sometimes it's a few months in between.
Yeah. And I think that's because he's finished his mission that he needed to do that book. And so now his life's going to go back to normal for a little bit. Yeah. Whereas this, it's just, I don't know, even, a specific part on Forged, he there's just a clock on his life now, right? Like he knows that he only has a certain amount of time left. And so as a reader, we're left in some suspense.
I think we're good at this point in the series. Like, if people are listening, they know the story, so we can talk about spoilers.
Okay, sounds good.
Like, we're getting into the books, listeners, if you didn't expect that. Before we do, we'll do a quick ad break here and then get rolling full blast. Okay, so interestingly, before you get back into the Forged comment, well, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the Fate Weaver knocking down his, he doesn't have much time left. But back to what you're talking about with the ending trilogy. Interestingly, the Dresden Files are planning on ending in a similar way with like a apocalypse trilogy, and it's probably going to have a pretty similar feel. It's my guess.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I guess that's been said for Dresden. That makes me nervous for Dresden with the rate of the books coming out.
With how long it's been taking lately, like to have a
and no shade, because at least Butcher he's continuing to put stuff out, so there's no shade. But I would have a hard time even just waiting for a year between these books would be hard.
Yeah, lately Dresden has been, well, I mean, he published the last two Battleground and Peace Talks in 2020, 2019.
I think it was 2019. I don't know.
I think it was before COVID. Yeah. So it's been like 3 or 4 years now. Dang, time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but he is publishing the second Olympian Affair, I think is the series. The sequel to, I haven't read those, but anyway, back to Alex Verus. So should we just, do you have any more overall thoughts or just go into the books?
So I think my overall thoughts is at least these titles are meaning something now, right? Fallen, I feel like captured that book so well, where Alex just hits rock bottom and then like scrapes himself back up and kind of loses his moral center while doing it.
Sure.
A little bit. And then I think that Forged obviously is Alex just making himself as OP as possible to face the looming threats while still not having a very good moral compass. Let's just say Arachne was a very good influence on Alex.
Yeah. Going back to our previous conversation about how the one word titles were not very informative for
these were.
I see a little more meaning in these ones, a little more on the nose. Arachne, I guess let's just go into the books now. So I think at the beginning of Fallen, like there's some kind of setup stuff, but the beginning's a little slow, and then we go into the big showdown at Arachne's lair, which kicks off the events that have not stopped since then through a book and a half, maybe a book and 3/4. Yeah, but Arachne leaving was sad, but also like I'm glad she didn't die. That would have been more sad. It is sad to think that she's not going to show again, but I do wonder if there's going to be some like final connection somehow in the last book. There's got to be, right?
I think so. There's got to be. Even if I don't know, maybe Alex travels through time or something and joins Arachne somehow. He uses his Fate Weaver plus divination powers to travel so far down a specific path that he ends up connecting with her. That could be cool.
Interesting. Or like a Captain America thing where he's super old and Arachne shows up at the end.
Yeah.
That'd be weird. Gosh, I hope that's not what happens. Yeah.
But okay, so going back to that, I mean, you said Arachne leaves. That's a charitable way of putting it. She is rescued by her benefactor under the mountain.
Cool scene.
Yeah, very cool scene. And it kind of gives you kind of a hint that there's magical powers that's beyond us. And I think that that's actually a really cool theme of the book is that however much power you think that our characters have, there's always some deeper well of magic that nobody's really tapping into. What do you think about the fact that what's her name that ends up piecing it all together? Why am I forgetting her name?
That she's traveled through time?
No. That it was actually Alex and Anne that broke Morden out of jail. What's her name?
Caldera?
Caldera.
Yeah.
So she's the one that kind of pieces it all together.
I'm super glad that Caldera is back in a big way for these books, because that was one of my complaints in the past, is that awesome characters like Caldera are sidelined. And I'm glad that's not happening. And her parts in these books were really good. Yeah.
And it's just crazy how she comes in and just totally owns Alex, totally, even Anne, who we thought that Anne was the super dangerous presence, and Caldera's just like suffocates her in the earth, like pretty like one hit knockout type situation.
I mean, this is pre-Jin and still.
Yeah, sure. Not pre-Jin, but pre-bonded.
Well,
pre-Dark Anne.
Yeah, pre-Dark Anne Jin. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But still, exactly. I mean, people still were afraid of Anne, and as a reader, we think that Anne is still capable of defending herself, pretty well, you know?
Yeah, suffocating in the earth was very effective against an opponent that is
and I guess
strong at close range.
Yeah, Alex didn't really plan that out well with running into the earth when he's fighting an earth mage. So
yeah, I was a little frustrated with Alex here. Like, I know he loves Arachne and Arachne's being surrounded, but I feel like you got to run, like, and kind of trust that the magical creature that's telling you to run knows what she's saying. As I feel like maybe if he just left a little bit sooner, maybe would have escaped.
I could see that. Yeah. I mean, it definitely needed to happen for the plot to go the way it did. So I'm not, and it wasn't super contrived. Obviously, Caldera was the person that should have figured it out because she knew, like, could sense something was a little bit off with the story. So I don't have much. I really like that twist. I like that.
Well, no, I like the whole Caldera involvement.
Yeah,
I was just frustrated by the way that Alex played it during all that, but it probably happened really fast. So
yeah.
But I mean, come on. These are moments where it's like, Alex, you're a diviner. Shouldn't you be able to kind of see what's going to happen and know you need to run away? But I know during the battle it's really hard because there's so much going on. He has a hard time seeing the future, but still. I don't know.
So what do you think about the fact that Alex has never, and it doesn't look like certainly he's going to ever repair his relationships with, like, Caldera and with Sonder?
Yeah, I don't think he is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he is either. But I mean, it's just so hard. It's one of those things where you have a sense that nobody's really in the wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously,
which I think is a really good thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think
books have going for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where you can kind of be rooting for multiple factions at the same time,
right?
But yeah, especially when you do see Alex kind of going off the deep end, and you're like, okay, now I could really see why they would want to rein him in a little bit.
No, yeah, we have a lot of really good multifaceted characters at this point in the series, and we can see what's going on from each of their perspectives, and they're all sympathetic in different ways and frustrating in different ways, and you love them and you hate them. Like, that's really well done.
Yeah, I would say that's true for a lot of the characters. There's still some, evil mustache twirling villains that on the Light Council and stuff that still could have been fleshed out a little bit more for the amount of effort that Alex goes to bring him down. But
for sure.
But yeah, okay.
I think a little more characterization for sure for like Sal Sakwe and Levistus. For as much as they're around, I feel like I don't really know much about them as people, which is
similar complaint as last book. Yeah.
Before
I move on from the Arachne scene, what do you think is the dress that she made Anne? Because
I feel like there's something with that dress that's gonna be really important in the last book.
Yeah, I feel like it could be a way for, like, Dark Anne and Anne to kind of coexist or something. Like,
for sure. And maybe that is Arachne's kind of parting shot that ties up her whole relationship with Alex and Anne and everyone. I feel like that dress it's important.
Okay, Phantology guarantee. The dress is important somehow.
Guaranteed. For sure, guaranteed. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we can kind of move on from the crap hits the fan scene.
Well, I mean, that scene continues on because Alex is captured, and then he goes from there into custody of the dark mages. Does that happen directly right after each other?
Well, no. So I think they kind of capture him, and then Richard rescues him, and then you have you have basically Alex breaks Anne, right?
Yeah.
Where
Crystal mind controls him, and that part was really heartbreaking and frustrating.
I know. It was. I saw a chance that I don't know, that I for a second, I mean, I know that we were listening to this from Alex's perspective, but there was a solid chance that Alex wasn't gonna get they're alive.
Yeah, is he gonna survive the end? I'm not even sure.
I don't think so. I think that the series is told to tell about Alex.
You think he's going out in a Blaze of Glory at the end, or Blaze of Evil, or whatever you want to call it.
I think Blaze of Glory.
He just takes out Richard and they fall into the Jinn portal together, and
maybe, yeah. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe, I don't know. I'm kind of, I would need to think through my thoughts more to give a coherent response, but I certainly hope. Do you think that this is going to be some narrative device where we find out that we're reading through his journals or something?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, think so?
Maybe that could be. Feels like at this point that would be tough for me to buy into. Like after 12 books to just have that sprung on me, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I know. I don't think so either, but I don't know. Okay, so back on track a little bit. Sorry, that was a.
Well, I mean, we can talk more about, I guess, a little bit what we think is going to happen at the end. I feel like my prediction, I think Alex will survive, but I don't think it's going to be a happy ending. Maybe he'll repair some relationships, but some things will, he'll realize that he went too far in a lot of ways, and he's got to deal with the consequences in whatever type of life he has remaining. But I think he survives somehow. I don't know how, but I think somehow he does.
Okay. That's okay. I don't know. I think that, yeah, I think he's going to die, but I think he's going to die saving his friends. And that he'll be remembered fondly for that. I think he'll die rescuing Anne, that Anne will defeat Richard, and that, yeah, his friends will honor his memory somehow.
I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah, I could see it ending either way. Or maybe in a different way. I don't know. At this point, honestly, it's kind of wide open.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be melodramatic though, or like, maybe not melodramatic, but it's going to be
thematically powerful.
bittersweet ending.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is not going to be a happy ending.
Which is kind of weird because the first few books do give you kind of like a, I don't know, kind of a cozier vibe,
kind of like a hero down on his luck, but he's really a good guy at heart. And it's definitely gotten a lot darker at the end here.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I mean, I think it makes for a good story, but it is a little bit different. Like there's been a tonal shift over the course of the series.
And really fast, let's talk about, for me, I feel like the tonal shift happened in two scenes. The first scene was the scene we just talked about where Crystal controls him and he, abuses Anne until she breaks, right? That was a pretty gut-wrenching scene. And then I think the other scene that was crazy was when he gets the Fate Weaver, comes, like, first of all, just like kills the guy that's thousands of years old, then comes back from elsewhere and just totally slaughters like a room full of people. That was crazy. And
there were just a lot of pretty sick, like, set action pieces in these two books.
Yeah.
And that was one of them. Yeah.
That was like, the heyday of the Marvel Netflix team up where you had like Daredevil and like
that was
Terminator.
Totally Daredevil. Yeah.
That was totally one of those scenes where he just like goes through a hallway, just like beating people up or whatever.
Or not Punisher.
Yeah. Sorry. Punisher.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. But there's so many of those scenes in those movies. And
that's for sure a one-shot action scene, or a one-take.
Action scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the term? I feel like it is. Yeah. Like a lot of those scenes from The Witcher where it's just continuous the whole time as he fights like 20 guys in a row.
Yeah. So it was crazy, and at the end he just like executes one of the people that was kind of just crawling away from him or something, and at that point you're like, okay, Alex, he's turned a leaf, or he's no going back from this.
And I feel like there's a lot of kind of small reflective times on what's going on, and as a reader you get the sense that this is it's like the reader gets a sense that this is a lot worse than Alex realizes it is, and the reason why is Alex is just so caught up in the heat of it that he doesn't even have time to like process how badly things are going and how far like gone he is. I think there's even like a small passage where someone's talking about how like battle mages or keepers or whatever, like when they're during the heyday of all their fighting, they're like, this is no problem. Then once they retire, they're like, I'm super messed up.
Yeah, I think that was what's his name's mentor, Verus' mentor.
Oh, Landis, maybe?
Landis, yeah. That seems like a Landis thing to say.
It does. And when Landis comes to him at the end of Forged and is like rattling off, like, here's the people you killed and here's what their lives are like
that scene hit deep.
Yeah. And Alex is like, stop talking to me about this. And
he kind of just wants to close his ears.
So he's just suppressing all of this. And I feel like a big part of it, like for me, a big reason why this works is because he has this fatalistic doom device placed on him and he doesn't think he's going to survive. So he's just like, screw it. I'm going after all these people who have messed with me. And I'm going to leave a world that has a chance to repair itself after I go. I
don't know, because I could see that, but at the same time, it's very personal what he's doing, right? He's, just at first just wants a ceasefire with the council. Like, you guys do you, just as long as you're not coming out after me, I won't have any beef with you. And so that's not really, I want to make the world a better place. That's just, I want to survive this.
True.
I'm willing to, and in that aspect, he has been kind of acting like a cornered wolf or something, where he's just, you send people at me, like, he started playing a little bit of offense now, where he's not just going to sit there and take it, right? So I don't know, but it definitely turned a corner when him and just walked up to Levistus's house and we're killing like the hired, or like the maids or whatever. That was, and I think that was probably more Anne than him, but he definitely, set it up so that would happen.
No, Alex is not shy at all about taking out anyone who happens to be in the line of fire.
Yeah.
And it's not like this is a total surprise. Like, we've seen this in his past. We saw it with the Night Stalkers.
Yeah.
I feel like there was one other time earlier in the series where he splashed some really dark tendencies. So I think it's been built up well, and then everything here at the end has pushed him over the top.
Yeah. So what did you think about kind of fast forwarding to the end with Saosakui's showdown with, like, between him, like we had Meredith from way back in like book 2 or whatever,
brings her back from Argentina
he's just like, you're coming with me, puts like a death bracelet on her or what, like, you're coming with me. So it's like all these, like you said, set pieces. He just like hops over Caldera, just like explodes the ground underneath there. I don't know. And then especially with like, what do you think about his plan with Rachel and how he can't figure it out, the magic type of Richard and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, Richard's magic type is not totally confirmed. Would you say it's would you say it's totally confirmed?
I would say it's totally confirmed. Yeah, it totally is. It's him. He's a diviner with a djinn.
But to what level does the reader know that? Like, Alex believes it. Do we know for sure? Have we seen that for sure?
I feel like the fact that he was able to use Delio's unpredictability in order to fool Richard's magic.
Yeah.
Because Delio was the one person that he couldn't predict. And so they're like, i.e., it must be one person that Richard couldn't predict.
I mean, I guess I'm just not completely sure, because I was expecting a twist, because for as long as the mystery of Richard's magic type has been something that Alex has wondered about, Alex has kind of thought that this is the case. And so as the reader, you're like clued in to think that that's true. So I was expecting some kind of twist. I mean, it makes sense and I'm fine with it, but I'm just like trained to be suspicious when it's when there's no twist.
But the thing is, though, is like, what would they twist to, right? I feel like the twist was
I don't know.
Alex. Yeah.
The twist that he had a Jin was good, and that Rachel had a Jin.
Yeah. That those are both good twists, and the fact that,
I mean, we'd been wondering, okay, Richard went into this other world. Like, we've been wondering about this for several books. What is it that happened in the other?
So he just
realm?
The fact that he just got a Jin from the other realm. That's all we know.
Basically, that's.
But it's surprising to me that he wanted the Dreamstone just to pair a Jin with Anne, because I'm not sure. I mean, if he already had two Jins that he was able to at least exercise some type of control over. I mean, what's so? I mean,
well,
it's just
I mean,
that
it went
Anne's
really
Jin is more powerful.
It went really badly with Rachel. Like, that was not a successful Jin bonding from Richard's perspective.
Yeah, but that's not because of the Jin, right? That was more.
Probably not.
That was because he created a psychopath.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's why he wanted either Alex or Anne, right? But and Anne's Jin is supposed to be the most powerful, like, king of the Jin, basically.
Yeah.
Which I honestly, it seems a little surprising that Richard wouldn't have taken that one for himself, like a la Jafar from Aladdin, right? Like, you'd expect the evil dude to be like, I can control the most power, right?
Maybe he would have if he would have had the Dominion Dreamstone, though. Maybe he couldn't.
Yeah, like, he wasn't sure of his ability to actually control that Jin, so he had to take up the lesser one.
And plus, I mean, maybe the Jin and the magic type is, like, his magic type is still somewhat limited in terms of the mass carnage that he can create, so versus
could be
him pairing it with Anne is a little bit more powerful of a weapon if he can control it.
Yeah, it does seem like there's a combination of the user magic and the Jin magic at work here.
Yeah. So it's interesting. But it was cool how he was able to figure out a way to separate Rachel from Richard
I thought that was nice. That was a nice, like, fist pump moment, I would say, when the Dreamstone broke and finally we see, like, Richard is angry and surprised that something didn't work out for him. That was satisfying as a reader.
Yeah. Okay, and then I kind of wish I had some small hope that Anne would be able to come back a little bit from that, but it didn't. Once she was not being controlled as heavily by Richard, but this does not seem to be the case going into Forged. I feel like
Anne's gonna break out of it somehow. I don't know. Maybe I'm the dress, right? That's like the only thing. Maybe I'm just hoping for a somewhat happy ending, even though I would not be satisfied with a totally happy ending, but I'm hoping for at least some reconciliation between Alex and friends, even if the rest of the world burns. Cool. But how does Anne get out of it other than the dress, right? Like, it can't be through the power of love anymore. Like, that's been used once. Yeah. And at this point, she's, like, too far gone for that to work again.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. I guess some more kind of things that just about to kind of talk through Forged a little bit, and we can kind of go quickly. I thought that maybe my worst of the best would be Jagadev's resolution, right? Where it was set up for so long.
Do you want to do the worst of the best?
Sure, we'll do worst of the best here.
Okay. So we have some moments that we really liked, except for some small nitpicks. Kind of ironic, since a lot of our podcast is just nitpicking the whole time. But whatever. You're gonna listen to this segment. You're gonna like it. Gosh dang it.
Okay, so Jagadev, I really enjoyed the fact that this was such a strong opening scene for Forged. It gave us Alex showing off the Fate Weaver a little bit. Okay, which is good. But the thing that annoyed me was that this was set up for so long to be this conflict kind of in the making between Alex and Anne and Very, where Alex is keeping this big secret that has the potential to, like, kind of like a soap opera plotline, right? It's just this big secret that everybody knows besides the two people that need to know. And it just seems like that was not a part of this, right? Like, Very was a little bit ticked, but Very got over it, and is already so far gone with all the other things. So yeah, I don't know.
It's not possible for Anne to be more pissed off, so it doesn't even register for her.
It's not. Yeah, there's no. It's like handing her a feather with a bag full of rocks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that the conflict was good. I was looking forward to seeing a little bit more drama from it, and it never appeared until Very we just got to blast Jagadev to
This does seem like something that was kind of like at the beginning of the series. I think a lot of different conflict threads were set up, and this seems like one that kind of late in the series. I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm speculating. Maybe it was just harder to weave this one in with everything else.
Yeah.
And so we had to tie up some loose ends. And so the way we're going to do that is use it as like the exciting cold open to the book.
Yep. Which I think it worked well for that. That's why it was the kind of worst of the best. Is I think that it was the best use of something that was going to be tricky for him to tie in. But I do wish that that would have been an element earlier on. If I think that it could have been an element that drove a wedge between Alex and Anne. Even that would have been a little bit more satisfying, or maybe give Very a chance to break away from Alex for a little bit before coming back to him or something.
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah, a little bit more, because it was like, it was a really cool plot element of Jagadev hunting down all these generations of people. Like, there were a lot of things that I liked about that plot line, and then it just kind of resolved like this was a little bit lackluster.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I think that is totally valid. My worst of the best. So in Forged, I think the strongest part of the book was just Alex's descent into the dark side, right? Like, this is some Star Wars stuff. He's just going down towards the dark side of the Force the whole time. Yeah, totally murdering the kids, right? Literally. And I think just like all of the screen time that Alex got alone to kind of become almost the villain. I don't know. You could argue that he's still not a villain because he's like doing things that like he's fighting bad people, right? He's not trying to kill good people. He's trying to kill bad people.
He's not going up and kicking a dog.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But I think the one bad thing that this creates in the book is Richard is sidelined the whole book until the very end. And I just feel like we need Richard involved in the plot a little bit more to reinforce the fact that, like, I mean, for the whole series, we thought Richard is the big bad. And then in the second to last book, Richard's kind of gone. And obviously we know he's still a problem, but it seems like he's just less of a problem than we thought all of a sudden.
So I agree with that. I think you could probably explain that by saying that Richard's not one to be hasty. And when he just got a sidekick, he kind of had some plans ruined. And so it wouldn't be surprising if he took a few days to a week to kind of lick his wounds and plan for his next move. Meanwhile, Alex still has to deal with the council and all these other things. So, and I do think that you kind of see that at the end of Forged when Alex has that conversation with Morden, where Morden, you kind of see that there was this break between Morden and Richard. So I think that and Morden basically said, oh, now it looks like Richard could lose, right? That's why I'm jumping ship. And so I think that if you're looking at this from Richard's perspective, it would be a little bit different of, hey, I'm just going to take myself out for a week and then kind of regroup.
Yeah. I guess maybe what I'm saying is I'm disappointed because it seemed like Richard was the big bad who would have had plans A, B, and C that were all spectacularly evil, all laid out. And plan A was working great until it got screwed up, and then there was like nothing that there's no backup plan that he can pivot to immediately.
Yeah. And now it's Richard coming to him at the end of Forge, right? Coming to him for an alliance that says to
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. There's no reason that he wouldn't have had. It kind of goes back to our conversation last episode where are we just to like assume that Morton was fine being held in a council prison? And your response was basically, well, Richard's probably got 10 backup plans to get him out of there.
Right, that's what I thought. Yeah,
but maybe not.
Although Morton does directly address that question, I think. Is it in this book or the one before?
Yeah, he basically says the council like to keep chess pieces for as long as possible, type thing.
Yeah. So I don't think there was any problem with the Morton sticking around in prison plot, and I don't think there's a problem with this plot either. Like it is what happened, and it just reveals that Richard is maybe not as much of a big bad as we thought. But
I think he's still a big bad because everybody else treats him like a big bad too. It's just he might be a little bit more of an incompetent big bad than we maybe thought.
Little more vulnerable than we thought.
Yeah,
I guess I'm just used to the big bad being super bad and super evil until right at the end he's suddenly vulnerable and the hero takes that one moment to win, right? Like that's kind of like the usual hero story, but this is
but there's
taking a turn from that. So
there's also a ton of things where it's like the big bad creates an unstoppable thing that they can't control any longer, and now they have to go get. That's not an uncommon trope either.
That's fair. I'm trying to think of an example of that.
I'm trying to think of one too.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
If you're hard to think and podcast at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, listeners probably have tons of examples, but yeah, I think that is a good point.
I think it's more common in cartoons because I can think of like a few PJ Masks episodes where that happens. Where it's
few what episodes?
PJ Masks. I don't know. Parents will know what I'm talking about. It's a new cartoon.
Not a parent enough to know.
Okay, yeah. So I do like that Worst of the Best though. That's a good one that I hadn't really kind of put my finger on, but it is a little bit weird that he wouldn't have had a way to control Anne, even if he.
And I mean, maybe that is just kind of the weakness of a diviner, because Richard is so sure that what he has planned for years and set up is going to happen, and he was unable to like see past the volatile nature of the person that he was hoping would come through for him.
Yeah.
Or at least not even come through for him, just hope that it wouldn't go crazy and blow everything up.
Yeah. And she's blowing some stuff up.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about the Mission Impossible plotline, right? Where him and like
the whole heist with Cinder to get the artificial intelligence and yeah, I thought that was
pretty
good.
awesome. Very cinematic. Yeah,
especially the whole helicopter bit.
And I do like the fact that like this far into the series that we still are introduced to this new interesting magical creature. I think magical creatures are probably my favorite part of
stuff like this.
Yeah,
like I think in urban fantasy in general, when you have the integration of magical creatures in with the real world, it just makes it seem a little more magical and fun.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with November, it's like it's pretty topical right now, with so
artificial intelligence has all the informations and bribing everyone, and
so I like November as a character. I think he's pretty witty, and maybe we know that Alex has a soft spot for magical creatures, and a magical creature that doesn't really. I think that November's starting to care for Alex, but is willing to just kind of mouth off to Alex at times, or maybe treat him just differently than other magical creatures have in the past.
I mean, I think November. The vibe I got was this she it November was just happy to be out of confinement and have
very C-3PO
interesting
vibes, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Just well, yeah, but also C-3PO is a total scaredy cat about everything.
Well, yeah, but I think that
But November kind of is too.
November, yeah, November gives me C-3PO vibes. Like, you're doing what? You know?
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't blast
yeah.
yourself into
okay, I can see it.
Okay.
I can see it. Yeah. I like that comparison. I feel like the vibe I'm getting from reading all these books and from getting like 3/4 of the way through Inheritance of Magic, and this should be no surprise because I think any fantasy author is like this, but I think Benedict Jacka is just a total nerd and is like, way deep into the internet and like all the references, the references and deep cuts that he throws out every now and then are great.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, yeah, so you like that. I liked it too. I thought that the fight of just freaking like fighting on the train, fighting on in the air, fighting in the streets of London, like base jumping off of a skyscraper, just all these things. This is where Alex Verus is the best at, where he's finding fun and unique ways to fight battles throughout London.
Yeah,
you do think that London would kind of have realized something, like London's been through a lot in these, in this series. So
yeah, London has been through a lot. And the deeper we get into the series, the more cinematic it's got. I really think it would make a great. I don't know if a TV series would have a big enough budget to do it justice. Like,
I think it would.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it would need a budget like something like Citadel to do all the.
Well, yeah.
To accomplish all the cool action scenes. Like, I guess you don't have to put all of the action scenes into the adaptation, but
the thing is, I feel like they could spend all their budget on one scene, and the rest of the scenes could just be. They could find a way to make divination look pretty cool without being pricey.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, I don't want them to spend all their budget on one scene and have the rest of the series be crap.
Not crap. The thing is, a series like this could only be really strong if it relied on things other than the special effects. It would need solid characters and solid writing.
Yeah. It would be a fun series, though. I feel like we don't have.
It would be super fun.
What would you say is the best urban fantasy adaptation to hit the screen?
There just hasn't been much. I mean, Firefly. That's not really urban fantasy, I suppose. That's more
probably more sci-fi.
And I don't think that's even more. I don't think that's even an adaptation. I think it's just like original content.
Yeah, I think that was original. Yeah.
I mean, you want to say
Harry
Dresden.
Potter.
You want to say Dresden, but
I never even watched that. I heard it wasn't any good. Can you even
call it?
I didn't even watch the show.
It's basically, think of like Dresden was trying to be Psych.
Yeah, that's not the vibe we want.
It's not the vibe. I don't know, man. Okay, what about this? Which would you rather have adapted? Like in a good way? Would you rather have Alex Verus, Dresden, or Mistborn Era 2?
Not Mistborn Era 2. I just feel like Mistborn Era 1 is such a better choice for an adaptation.
We're talking about urban fantasy, okay?
Well, I know, but I don't know. I'm just trying to justify the fact that I don't really care to see Mistborn Era 2 come to screen.
Okay.
I just don't feel like an adaptation of Era 2 would be that great. I feel like it would be hard to capture the vibe in a good way, and I didn't really love the vibe in the book, so I don't know if I'd like it at this show. Anyway, I wouldn't be excited for that one. But between Dresden and Alex Verus, I'm gonna have to go with Dresden just because there is a bigger variety of cool creatures and things to see.
You just want the hot vampires. I see how it is.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's probably the hot vampires.
Large variety of the characters.
Yeah, especially the hot vampires.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on the other hand, London is a cooler setting than Chicago.
Yeah, and you got the accents.
Yeah.
London, you know.
Right. And there's a lot of cool things you could do. I mean, I've been to London, I've been to Chicago. London, I'm sorry, people from Chicago. London is a cooler setting for an urban fantasy TV show. I'm coming out with all the hot takes, or I'm not.
You are.
I'm not holding back.
I don't think very many people would disagree that London is a cooler city than Chicago. I think you're pretty safe in that take.
Except for all the people who live in Chicago.
No, I think people that live in Chicago would still probably agree with you. Come on, I live in Vegas. I don't have no problem saying that London is a cooler city than Vegas. So,
yeah. I'm glad that you have recognized that.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. So let's talk about the books again. So real quickly, because we're low on time. Anything else in Forged? I think we should touch on Rachel/Delia dying.
Yeah, man, that was dark. I didn't really understand the symbolism behind the mirror, you know.
Well, I think she was just like confronting her crazy side.
Oh, yeah. Jeez, that was a creepy scene.
It was. I was not sad to see her go.
Yeah.
Like, I was.
Well, this is how
know,
you know
just,
we're getting into the end game, right? Is when he just starts like executing these.
Yeah, offing all these characters who have been pretty major. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at this point, through 12 books, I'm just a little tired of Rachel's shtick where she's crazy and wants to kill Alex and has never really deviated from that ever.
Yeah, and I think that I think Jacka knew he did really well in kind of making it like an inevitable situation that this was leading to, right? Where finally Alex was kind of told Cinder that he couldn't play with kids' gloves anymore with her, right? Where eventually she can land a lucky hit and that would be it, you know? So
yeah.
And he gave her one more chance. And I think that Cinder's recognition and lack of being mad at Alex shows you that Alex was justified in doing it, right? So,
and I do think there were some nice character things for Alex that landed at the same time. Like when he realized that he was the one, like he was really Richard's chosen, and you know everyone else died and he survived, and like, you know, what does that mean for who the real dark wizard is? Like stuff like that. I think that was just a pretty strong moment too.
Yeah, and I mean him just watching Rachel, I forget what her name was. The shadow, like Rachel's shadow or whatever.
Delia?
No,
Shireen.
The Shireen, yeah.
Dissolve. And she was like, "You promised me you were going to resolve this, and you know,
kill. Yeah,
you didn't. Yeah,
you failed me. Yeah, and
yeah.
Okay, last thing that we need to talk about is the meeting at the Shadow Realm between it's like Avengers assemble against Anne, you know.
Oh, at the very end. I still want to touch on two things quickly. Okay, I think when Talisid came in to the deep Shadow Realm and Alex tricked him with like the time dilation, and that was nicely done, and I thought that was really cool. And a very smart plan from Alex.
Speaking of Miss Pornera too.
Yeah, Miss Pornera.
Okay. We don't have to
check out the upcoming TV series that I'm excited for. And then the other cool thing was Alex's like confrontation with the senior council members when he was like, "You came after me, and there were 7 of you, and I told you to back off, and then there were 6 of you, and I told you that we could stand down and have peace, and now there's 5 of you, and if you don't do it this time, there'll be 4." And that was,
and then we come after you, and you're,
dude, that was cool.
That was like Alex saying, "I have a very special set of skills." Conversation.
No, that was really very well written. That was cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
And then Morden just like is hanging out on a tree branch. He's like, "You conducted that with
those
negotiations."
You did that really well. But even as smart as Alex is, he still got played by Morden, who
Yeah.
I
don't know if I would call Alex smart. I mean, he is smart. He's capable, but I don't think that being smart is his strongest suit. Maybe it is.
He is smart with a huge buff from his divination.
Yeah, and he's also smart in seeing the short-term picture, but maybe not the big picture. Like he didn't recognize that Richard was manipulating him and saving him for all those instances.
Sure.
So he's not aware. Maybe he's smart but not aware.
No, I agree. Maybe intelligent but not wise.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
I've been playing too much Baldur's Gate. I'm way into all the different D&D attributes.
Yeah, and then Morden's like, I'm an associate of yours. That word just carries. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Nicely done. Okay, so then you're
and sorry to go back. What did you think about Alex like choosing to kill Caldera and
oh yeah, but she's not dead.
No, she's not.
But people think she's dead, which was a little confusing to me at first.
Sorry, Talis said that she was unaccounted for.
But then what's his face? We talked about him earlier. Varium's master
starts. I thought that was Talis.
Landis. Landis says she's dead.
I thought that.
I'm pretty I don't know if he says the word dead, but he thinks that she's dead. I mean,
she's MIA, and so
yeah. Okay, it makes sense that he would think that she's dead at this point. There's a lot of people that are unaccounted for. Yeah, but she's not, and I think we assume that Anne had something to do with that at this point.
Well, no, Anne for sure rescued her.
Well, rescued, right?
She stopped her from dying.
Yeah, but maybe to a worse fate.
No, for sure. Yeah, but you just said, maybe I misunderstood you. You said we assume that Anne is the reason why she's not dead, and definitely is the reason why she's not dead.
Right, but I mean, I guess what I was implying was that there was something further going on. Like she's not just hanging out at her flat or whatever, right?
She's definitely going to use her for and maybe even to bondage in. I think.
I mean, Anne is in a desperate recruiting pitch right now, which gets back to the Avengers Assemble / like Civil War. Was that where you were going with that?
Oh yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, I was just kind of well, not even turning against each other, just everybody trying to take down one person.
Oh sure. Okay, so this is a Thanos moment.
This is a Thanos moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not as epic as a Thanos moment.
Not as epic, and we need more Avengers.
This is more of a Thanos at the beginning of or what's the first installment of Endgame where
Infinity War.
Infinity War, yeah. I don't know if you remember where Hulk gets his butt handed to him and Loki dies.
Oh yeah, where he comes to the Ragnarok ship.
Yeah,
and okay, I could see that.
This is kind of
yeah.
You have enough
Thanos confrontation,
enough hero power there to maybe stop him, but
right. But we need more hero power. So in book 12, everyone is going to ally against.
But you got Richard
against Thanos. Yeah. Richard, remaining Light Council, and Alex are all getting into a really, I'm sure, an alliance that's going to be really, really strong. Really, it's not going to break apart for anything. No. There will be no stabbing in the back at any time, I'm sure.
This is crazy. It's such a good ending here, where I know at the beginning of the podcast I was frustrated with the fact that it just kind of seemed to end pretty abruptly, but I'm super excited. I had to choose not to read this book right after finishing Forge, just so we could record this episode.
Well, I'm glad you did. I think it was worth it to avoid any spoilers at this point.
Otherwise people knew we had read the book because of how the dress comes in and saves the day.
Yeah, it's obviously the dress. I mean,
the dress really is the X factor that we were just talking about. Like there need, So
yeah. Otherwise, what's the point of the dress, right? We have a
yeah.
It's going to be
item. I think the dress is going to resurrect the cloak.
Alex's like old armor,
mist cloak. No,
the mist cloak. Oh dang, I forgot about the mist cloak.
Oh yeah,
forgot about that one. Yeah, we could have that could come back.
A dress mist cloak romance.
Starbreeze finally came back.
Starbreeze, that was epic.
Another friend we hadn't seen for a while. I love Starbreeze. I was sad that Starbreeze was gone for so long.
Yeah.
Starbreeze brings enough, like a good amount of lightheartedness,
whimsy.
Yeah.
I know the fact that he was able to use the Dreamstone to call out to her was really cool. We kind of glossed over that, but that was a cool moment.
Starbreeze MVP. Hopefully Starbreeze shows up again for something in Risen. I hope in Risen, like, everyone gets a little bit of time to showcase, something, kind of tie up everyone's arc in a cool way. Yeah. Exactly. Everyone's got to do something. Yeah. Sweet. All right. Well, listeners, let us know what you think of our predictions. I mean, you can be impressed that we nailed the dress. I'm sure no one else picked up on that. So that's how much of pros we are.
All right. Thanks, Steven.
All right. See you, Ben. Bye.
See ya.